And who's doing the following week?
Tommy and Garth.
Okay. And what's the topic?
Patient waiting.
Patient waiting.
Okay. All right. Okay, there it is. All right. Sorry, Internet. We've been having a little bit problems. Last week we couldn't stay online. It just kept coming off. So I just wanted to be for sure before we got going here. So welcome to all of you here, and welcome to all you out in the Internet land. I'm Doug Wilkerson. This is Saturday Night Live Life Recovery. What Life Recovery means is we're working on together how to recover from life.
Yes, sir.
How to recover from life.
Recover from life. Recover from life, because life is messy.
Yeah.
And see, we don't come fully loaded with the data to really make the healthy choices. We seem to oftentimes make the unhealthy choices on the way that's the path on the way of wisdom, of learning what not to do. Would you agree with that? Hopefully.
And follow others, until we can figure out what to do,
Yeah, well, the trouble is, some of those others are
lost.
So anyway, thank God for His blessing. Thank God that He's able to come into our life and that He was there even in our most messiest times. That may not be proper English, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So tonight, we're going to be covering a really good topic. Robert has selected it out of our Life Recovery Bible and our Life Recovery Workbook. And we're in step 11, and the topic is finding God. I think this will be very interesting. I've got a fact sheet back there that's 2 pages. It's got all kinds of different stuff. I tried to squeeze as much as I could on there because I had more than I could get on 2 pages, but I have to draw a line somewhere, and I think all that information is really good, and we'll go over just a little bit of it. And I want to apologize to all of you here today and all of you on the internet. Our band's not here tonight, so you may get more of me. So
Yeah.
I'm going to try.
Well,
I'm gonna try to be done in 20 minutes. So that's my plan. So. Step 11, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry it out.
Yes.
I know I've said this many times, but I think for me, in the last 10 years or more, step 11 has been my favorite step. And so I think it's a very powerful step. And we've talked about that in the weeks gone by. So the question is, what does finding God mean? That was the question. I was asking you guys the question.
oh,
Well, I knew I had him all the time. My grandmother said I had the devil in me. My mama said I had some. I didn't really go to church like I should. I went to Lone Allen Church and all the churches. But it seems like in the last 20 years I've gotten more religious, more caring about people than I ever did. And I want to help them, but sometimes they're hard on me, So I didn't look at it. That's what I got.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I think finding God is something different for everyone. Depending on, number one, do we believe in God? And number two, we're all at a different point in our finding God and building a relationship with Him.
Yes.
So, but I think the point is, we need to find God. He's there to help us. He's always there to help us. We just have to reach out and accept His help.
It's good, it's good. So, what does it mean if we don't find God?
Stay stuck in our misery.
Good, Tommy. What, you gonna say something, Robert?
No.
He beat you to the punch? Did he beat you to the punch?
Yes.
Continue to travel on this path that,
I couldn't hear you.
I said we continue to travel on that path, that has us held down.
You stirred up a memory that Einstein said that you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it.
Right, very good, I like that,
That's interesting,
I like it.
And if we don't have some help from others and especially God,
Right,
then we're stuck with the one that got us there to start off with.
right,
What do you think about that? Slip a little Einstein in there. So,
So for me, I've always believed in God. So for me, finding God is, I've I say come here and going over steps and just learning different things. Like, of course, I always knew it's kind of in His hands, but let go of the impatience. It's not on your time or terms, it's on His, and just relax. And because when you have that impatience, etc., it will feed an addiction. And so to me, finding God is,
somewhere on this sheet, it says, actually finding God is, we're not really finding God because He's not lost.
yeah,
We're the
I was
ones,
thinking about that.
we're the ones that are lost. And so, anyway, I don't remember where, on these two sides of the sheet, it's on there somewhere, but anyway,
Jesus.
excuse me?
We might have to settle for Jesus if we can find him.
It's in number 1.
Okay. To scan through these, because I said I was gonna try to be done in 20 minutes. Finding God means, number one is becoming aware of His presence. We really need to work on practicing being aware of His presence. And the more we do that, the better we can get at it. Because all of us probably, either wasn't aware of God's presence, or we didn't realize that we could practicing His awareness. So number two is finding God. Finding God means entering a personal relationship with Him, which is, Robert mentioned that. It's really it's not just throwing up prayers. It's about taking our cares to Him, because He does care for us. Our cares and His care is two different things, by the way, right? Our cares is we're worried about something, it's a problem, and His care is that He loves us and wants to care for us. It's not the same worry that we have. He's not worrying about us, okay? And so building that relationship with Him, and it's not all about us speaking to Him, but it's the biggest part is listening to what He has to say. And He's got a lot to say. Yes, sir.
It also involves our heart.
Absolutely.
So it's one thing to say, I have a relationship with God, I have found God. But until it's really heartfelt, you don't realize what that is. Once you give your heart to God, you can feel His presence all the time. And it's a big breakthrough when you can reach that point.
And when you say feel, that's experiencing His presence. And that does something to us that's not intellectual. It's in our nervous system, and we know it. And I was speaking to a couple different people this week, and they both were saying, this is at different times, that you know, they weren't sure that God had ever spoke to them. And I said, well, I have to disagree with that. And this one person said, well, I've had several people disagree with that with me. And so we talked a while, and then I said, would you like God to speak to you now? And so we went through a process, and God did. And I already told her that there was events in her life that was unexplainable, that she didn't think it could happen, and it worked out. And that's God's divine intervention, whether you realize it or not. And she says, you know what? You're right. And we've all had that. So that's the reason why I could be so bold and said I disagree. Because that's the way God is. He shows up to us, whether we say we don't believe in him or not. He still does it, because that's the way he is. He's a good God. He's not trying to override your will, but he is interested in your behalf. And you know what? I think that if he didn't do that, none of us would be alive today.
Right.
In my opinion. So, I got to get back on track because I don't want to be a liar tonight. So, finding God means, this is number 3, finding God means discovering his character in our circumstances. Man, that's a powerful statement. You know, finding God is, figuring out, God, what are you doing here? How many times, and I've talked about it from time to time, that difficult times and didn't know what I was going to do, and talking to God about it, and then that Romans 8:28 came to my mind, that he'll cause all these things to work together for my good. And in my earlier days, I used to think, well, how are you going to turn this out for my good? But then I say, well, but I believe that you can, and I believe that you will, and so I'm going to trust that you are in the midst of that, even though I can't see it. And it's happened every time. And it's happened for you too, right? Amen?
Amen.
Preach it, Doug. Sure. Number 4, finding God means aligning your life with his truth and will. Now we all know that that's truth right there, right? That's truth. That's the word. Of course, there's scriptures down here that you could look at too on this paper. John 14:21, that if we accept and obey his commandments, that he will show his love to us. He's just looking for an opportunity to move in our life, in my life, and in your life. So, lining up with his truth and will. Number 5, that is recovery terms. In recovery terms, finding God's will is coming to believe. That's step 2, right? Remember step 2? Coming to believe. And God is patient with us. And we, like the story that Willie read the other day that I wrote a couple of weeks ago when I wasn't here, about the guy in Vietnam. He didn't think that he believed in God. Well, if you didn't believe in God, then why are you talking to him? That's my personal opinion. So at some level, he had a belief, even though it was a challenge. But God doesn't mind showing up for a little challenge. So it says, and that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. Man, that is right. That is a step itself. But a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. And that's what we're talking about finding God. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what does finding God in step 11 mean? Of course, I've already read step 11. Shall I read it again while we're talking about it right here? Yes. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. So, finding God is the beginning of a relationship. Step 11, finding God is the beginning of a relationship. Okay, that begins the relationship. That allows the relationship to be planted, to grow, to be established. We say yes. Okay, we make that connection. We open up to it. Step 11 is learning to live in that relationship, to seek Him, hear Him, follow His will every day. That's step 11. That's how this topic out of Psalms 105, 1 through 9, and step 11 hooked together. Let me check my time, see how close I am. I think I'm about right, so maybe I had another minute, but any questions or comments before I shut down? Yes, sir.
You know, you're talking about the Lord and God talking to you. I've been out here since I was 7. He talked to me one time on 7th. It wasn't about religion, it wasn't what I was doing wrong or right. He told me to go look in the dumpster. It's crazy.
Yes.
I found $185 worth of something. I'm going, wow, I need to lay that. I don't do drugs, I don't drink. And then the other down, I'm going, that is crazy. Of all the churches I went to, all the people, I've seen exorcists before. I've seen religion, and he's never, I'm going, that is off the wall. But I prospered over that. That's all.
Well, you know,
He-
Jesus said that He only did what He saw His Father do, and He only spoke what He heard from His Father. So, you know, that's pretty good a rule that we can try to follow. If it's good enough for Him, I think it'd probably be good for us too. So, all right, anybody else? Okay, who's reading the steps? Come on down. Oh, by the way, while Tommy's coming, come on down here, Tommy. Saturday Night Live here will be shut down on November the 29th. That's the Thanksgiving weekend, so we will not have an in-person live meeting. So that's November the 29th. And we'll be back on December the 6th. At least that's the plan. Here's Tommy.
Here,
Tommy.
oh,
How they
I got
cracked it up. You got steps over there? I'll go.
I got one right here.
I see them sitting there.
They usually are up there, but something happened.
Cleaned up.
Vanessa moved them one day.
Huh.
There's supposed to be one copy up there.
Yeah, we got it now.
And the
Did you get one?
Hello, everybody.
hello,
Hi,
Tommy.
Tommy.
The 12 steps. 1. We admitted that we were powerless over our problems and our lives had become unmanageable. 2. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. We made decisions to turn our wills and our lives over to the care of God. 4. We made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. We admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We were entirely ready to have God remove these defects of characters. 7. We humbly asked God to remove our shortcomings. 8. We made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9. We made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. We continued to take personal inventory and were wrong, promptly admitted it. And we're on step 11 tonight. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry it out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others and practice these principles in all our affairs. Step 11, one more time. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry it out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tommy, do we need, anyone need to?
Clean time?
Clean time? No?
No.
Okay, all right.
I lost count.
It's Robert.
Hi, Robert.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Tommy, for that.
All right, step 11. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. As we work through the 12 steps, we spend a lot of time looking back. We often think about the wrong things we have done in the past.
So, do you agree or disagree with those statements?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think it's vital that we do that in the beginning because it's part of the process of recovery, is admitting the wrongs that we've done and looking back on our life, deciding if we enjoyed that life or if we're ready for something better.
Go ahead.
Okay. As we proceed in the recovery process, we will need strength to move along the path God wants us to follow. Part of this strength will come as we visualize God's constant presence with us.
Trying to catch up here, Robert, sorry. Again, let's see, my question, oh yeah. So, what do you think that means?
Well, recovery is not easy and it's not automatic. You know, it requires some work on our part. We don't just come to a meeting like this and suddenly we're fine. A lot of people may think that and they stop coming to these meetings and pretty soon they're right back in the same old habits that they came to the meetings for to try to get rid of.
Why do you think that is?
Because that's how we programmed ourselves. Whenever we felt bad or felt happy or felt disjointed, we relied upon our addiction to help us disconnect, and it was what we did for comfort, I guess.
Yes.
But
Or escape, which would be the same thing.
yeah, but go ahead, Garth.
I'm so sorry, and for an immediate
Yeah.
fix, so to speak,
Yeah,
the impatience,
To alter your state.
yes.
yeah.
And did you have any particular personal illustrations you wanted to
Oh,
communicate?
oh. I think I'd make everybody in here blush with some of them, and, but, you know, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of them, because, you know, but, you know, over time, it is, fortunately, I think, it,
Sounds like to me the answer is no.
yes. Yes, it's no.
So, Robert,
Uh-huh.
this sentence here says, when we visualize God's constant presence with us, what does that mean? Visualizing God's constant presence with us.
Well, like I mentioned before, when we really come to believe, not only with our mind, but with our heart, when we come to believe and find God, then we're in a relationship. It's like we can have constant contact with God throughout the day. We just even if it's not allowed, when something good happens, we say, thank you, God. When something bad happens, say, help me, God, to not take the wrong step, make me see the right path to take. So we are, I like the word constant. It's a constant presence that God gives us through His grace. He wants to be near to us. He wants to help us. And He also wants us to be thankful for the help He gives us.
Good, good. I wanna come back to this, but I wanted to see if anybody had any comments on that. Okay, so I wanna bear down on this word here, visualizing, talking about visualizing God's conscious presence with us. What are we talking about? Visualizing His presence,
Interacting.
Well,
Yeah, leave your
interacting.
Open on the camera.
I think that, at least in my own case, when I pray to God, I visualize Him in heaven, kind of bending His ear,
Okay,
listening to what I'm saying, and kind of nodding his head like, yes, I understand what you're saying. Give me a chance to help you through this. You know, I just kind of mentally visualize those things. It's like when I'm reading a book, I feel like I'm in the story.
good, good,
So when I pray, I feel like I'm in the story.
good.
God's hearing me.
So then, you're saying that visualization process is actually participating in that conscious awareness. Is that,
Yes.
am I putting words in your mouth, or is
No. Very good.
And so then that's, you're more into it, you're more aware, you're more tuned in, you're
Right.
more present.
Yeah, and I haven't always prayed that way.
Yes,
Many times in the past, I prayed to God because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And it was more just a habitual thing without any real connection, you know?
good,
But
good,
now I feel like I have that connection and feel like God strengthens me because of it, you know?
good. Well, I'm gonna use your words from earlier and tie it into just what you just said, if that's okay.
Okay.
And that is, you made a statement there that I didn't used to do that earlier, but now you're endeavoring to do that. And because you said that in your earlier attempt to have to be connected to God, it was less relational and more out of duty or performance.
Right.
My words, I had some of my words into your statement. And now you described, I think, where you're talking about having a more connected or intimate relationship with God. The word is, which was your word, relationship,
Exactly.
which makes it more what?
Makes it more real
Okay,
and more personal.
excellent. That's great. That's great. That's great. That's what I want, and I hope that's what all of you want. And you on the internet, I hope that's what you want. Anybody comment? Anything else, Robert? So sum up the visualization here, here on this statement here about, trying to strengthen ourselves to be able to come to Him, to have more conscious awareness of His presence by using visualization.
Well, I don't know if people are like me, but if I'm watching a movie, if I'm reading a book that really has got my attention, I feel like I'm in the very scene I'm reading or watching. I can picture myself running away from the bad guys, or kissing a beautiful woman, whatever it might be. But visualization just really helps the story or the event that I'm reading or watching. It becomes more real to me. So, like I said before, I didn't used to pray and visualize being in that prayer, but now I do, and I believe it helps me to make it more real, make God more real to me when I visualize Him hearing my prayer. And like, He said, I hear you, I'm gonna help you, you just gotta be patient, or whatever,
Good.
it just becomes real, and I feel His presence because of that.
Good. Any comment? This, what we're talking about here is actually, not just doing it cognitively or in our mind, but doing it emotionally. And that helps you to experience. Remember, we talked just a few minutes ago about experiencing God, and that is a energetic power that we can feel, and we can hold on to that because we experienced it. You remember experiences. People pay a lot of money to have an experience, right?
Right.
And so, and that we're talking about being able to know God, which is, in my opinion, and I believe what we're talking about here is to be able to really experience Him, because He says He invites us to know Him, right? So,
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. The psalmist wrote in Psalm 105 verses 1 and 5 through 8, "Give thanks to the Lord and proclaim His greatness. Let the whole world know what He has done. Remember the wonders He has performed, His miracles and the rulings He has given. He is the Lord our God. His justice is seen throughout the land. He always stands by His covenant, the commitment He made to 1,000 generations."
What do you think about that?
This just reminds me that sometimes when we read the Bible, especially in the Old Testament, we think, well, that doesn't really have much meaning for me today. But, like when you read of for example, Daniel, when he was in the lion's den, because of his stand of being faithful to God and not bowing down to other gods, and God protected him and closed the mouths of those lions. If you can read that story and visualize what it really means, it's a wonder that He has performed. It's a miracle.
Good.
And it just proclaims His greatness. God is able to do anything. And if we believe that, He can do anything for us too. We just have to open ourselves to Him and accept not only what we read in the Bible, but the leadings, I guess, that God puts in our mind, or maybe people around us give us a little push in a certain direction. If we feel that God is behind that and follow through, you'll be amazed at what can happen, And I've just found that I read the Bible differently than I used to. I really try to imagine what God was trying to do when He accomplish those things. And I think it was just, he just wants his people to know how great he is, how wondrous his acts are, and that he's just. Some of the things that he did, we may, that's kind of cruel, but it's just. It's according to his just purpose.
It's good, good. Any comments before I ask my next question? Is it all right if I say your name? I didn't want to say your name without asking you. It's okay? All right. This is Patty right here. She came in there, and I'm not sure who you,
Ozzy.
do I?
Ozzy.
Ozzy, my friend Ozzy.
Ozzy. Hi, Ozzy.
Ozzy,
Hi,
good
Patty.
Hello.
I'm glad you're here.
guy. Yeah, me too.
All right, so now I got a question for you. Are you ready for my question?
I'm ready.
Ready, all right. So I really liked your point about Daniel and being able to stand up there and connecting with that story and visualizing that story and feel that story. But to be able to actually do that in our own life, how do we get from where we are to that part, being able to be at that place? How do we do that?
We start small.
Good?
So, for example, I had an occasion at work where my boss told me that I should just deposit a check that I received, but the customer had already paid for those invoices. And I said, I don't think I'm gonna do that. I said, I think that's wrong. I think I should tell them that they've already paid those invoices. And so that's what I did. And he never said another word about it, because after I said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. So anyway, that's a small thing, but it shows that,
But it was also a big thing.
yeah,
It's not like standing in a lion's den, right? But it's still pretty good.
right. But I feel like the more I try to live myself according to what God tells us to do, then if something comes along that says, somebody says, if you don't bow down to that idol right there, I'm gonna throw you in the lion's den, then I can say, okay, well. And that's another point with the 3 young Hebrew boys. When they were about to be thrown in the fiery furnace, they said, we just want you to know, King, that our God is able to save us.
Right,
But even if he doesn't,
right,
we're not gonna bow down to you.
yes.
So that's the way I want to be. I know what God says is right. Now, I wanna do what's right, and I know that he can protect me, but even if he doesn't, I'm gonna do what's right.
And that has an effect on you, right?
Right.
Because not doing what is right also has an effect on us. Isn't that true? And we've all had, hopefully, we've had the shared experience about doing the right thing, but I know we've all had the experience of not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Right? And how that works in you. And I remember I was doing a job one time, and I told them I didn't really have time for the job. I didn't want to do the job. I didn't feel like I was supposed to do the job. But they said, well, just give me a price. And so I doubled it and gave it to them, and they said, okay. But after that job, I always was waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? I didn't have any proof on that until I got that phone call a year later. And I said, it's my fault. I got it. I was talking to God. It's my fault. I got it. And lesson learned. I pray that I never ever do that again. Cause I don't wanna learn that lesson again, you know what I mean? Right? So, anyway, thank you for all that. Anybody comments?
No.
Go ahead.
From now on, when we look back, we should concentrate on seeing the wonders he has performed and remember his miracles and the rulings he has given. We can look around to find his goodness throughout the land and look forward to the fulfillment of his promises.
Now, well, that wasn't scripture, but basically it came out of the scripture we just read. Okay? And that we can look forward to the fulfillment. Because God does fulfill all of his promises. So, do you agree or disagree with all that?
Absolutely agree with it, yeah.
Okay. What do you think it all means? I've kind of stepped on your answer here, but
It means give God a chance and let him prove it.
good. I like that. Any comments?
It's gonna be a tough act to follow. I'm just really,
You do it.
yeah, you just really need to slow down.
And I just thought in my mind, boy, Garth hasn't said anything
You
today.
got all the excitement, you do it.
All right, go right ahead.
In prayer, we should thank God for what he has done, seek him for the strength we need today,
Good.
and ask him to fulfill his promises for tomorrow. In meditation, we need to remember our victories, ponder God's presence with us today, and consider his faithfulness and the hope he gives us for tomorrow. So I like the way it talked about looking in the past, looking in the present, and looking in tomorrow, the future. In everything we do, when we're talking to God in prayer, thank him for what he has done, what he's doing today, and what he's gonna do for the future. When we're asking God for help, thank him for his help in his past. Ask for his help to take the right steps today and also in the future. And help us to put our eyes always on him.
Good.
Trust.
On the fact sheet that I put back there by the offering container, on the second page, at the very end, it's got step 11, finding God, Psalms 105, 1 through 9, and talking about visualizing his constant presence with us. It's got 3 visualizations that you just read in that information there, and that is remember, ponder, and consider. It was just a little different way that you said it there, but that's what it's got it in there, and I've got some information in there, those scriptures. So anyway, if you want to follow up with a little extra, it's there for you. What did you learn out of this lesson today? Wait. Let me ask the first question first, which I've been doing. Why did you choose this lesson today?
Because, let me tell you, I've always been around the Bible, church, people who believe in God, but I know that my finding God did not happen until I was down to the very bottom, the very lowest rung that I could be on. And I was just at a loss, and I prayed to God that I said, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I hope you can help me. I believe you can help me. And That was four years ago. And I'm so thankful because I really truly believe now that I have found God.
It's good. And that's the difference, if you don't mind me using your story here, that the difference between knowing about God and actually what we're calling today finding God, or really knowing God, or having a relationship with God.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
That's powerful. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And it makes life so much more and more enjoyable, more fulfilling, and more beneficial for others around you.
Good. Good. Yeah, I say often, if you want your life to change, all you have to do is change. And when you change, it affects everything in your life and everything around your life.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Good, good. Now, back to the former question. What did you learn from this lesson?
Well, I learned that it's good to look back and see where I was compared to where I am today in my relationship with God. And that's reaffirming that I'm going in the right direction and I'm making progress, and also makes me hopeful for the future.
Well, I had this thought, not everybody knows where you were and where you are.
Don't
And
matter.
you don't have
I
to
know.
share. That's true. Yeah, you don't have to share. But we all have a story, right?
Right.
And sometimes we all recognize the bottom when we hit it. Well, most of the time we recognize it when we hit it. Sometimes we have to bounce a few times.
Yeah. That's for sure, yeah.
So, what's your takeaway?
My takeaway is I believe finding God was the best thing I could do for my life. Even though my life is not perfect, it's a whole lot better than it would be if I didn't have God.
Very good. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Robert, that's so good. Just to listen to you. It's great. Wouldn't you agree with that, Gar?
Oh, absolutely, it's a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
I might have to tap dance to top that one.
Well, so did you pick this topic or did Robert pick it?
I believe Robert picked it.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe just since there's only 2 questions that maybe you picked it. So
No, sir, but next week, I picked.
okay, and that is what next week?
What is it?
Patient waiting.
Patient waiting, yes, oh, yeah, I picked that.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, good. Then don't let me forget to ask you the question. But we won't go over that today. But I think we can maybe imagine.
Hello, everyone, I'm Garth.
Hey, Garth.
Thank you for coming and in that land, as always. So much appreciate you being here with us. All right, so. Boy, that was a tough act to follow. But
But it's good.
it's good, it's good. When you play tennis, if you play with someone who's bad, you don't play as good as when you play with someone who's good.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're
So-
gonna have to pull those big boy pants up and go to,
All right, so
but I believe that you can do it.
thank you for that confidence.
Well, I do.
And I would say I do too, but Robert's pretty skilled. I think I got this. Oh, okay. All right, so we have two questions. Broke it off and we'll say two questions. The first is my life changing daily? Am I noticing when I'm resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid today? And identify,
Let's do the first part of that.
yes, identify ways that I'm changing. All right. So is my life changing daily? Well, I want to say yes, but I would say I'm always moving forward. So I don't want to be so righteous to say, oh, every day it's changing. Well, it it definitely is, but I can do better, I guess. Be consciously aware of each day and change it for the better.
Well, but the fact of it is, it's either getting better or it's going the other direction.
Absolutely, yes.
So it's, it's kind of up to us, right?
I think I'd say it's totally up to us. Of course, we have God there with us.
Right.
But we need to make conscious decisions
Right,
and take steps to move it in that direction.
yes. And how does perspective come to play in that?
Well, I think perspective is extremely important because what's bad could be good. Whenever we think that, oh boy, this is really bad and why are things so bad? I think there's always good in everything. And I think that I like to look at those situations as they're put before me for a reason. I know God wants the best for me, wants to bring out the best in me, and will never put me in a situation that I haven't the strength or the ability to get through. So when it seems really dark and gray, that's the time that perspective is real important. That this is for a reason, and I'm going to rise to the occasion. I think that for me, it seems like the times where I've had difficult times and struggling with situations that were unpleasant, I think I grew more and learned more.
What do you mean you think?
Well, I don't want to dismiss, my growth and my strength, ability in the good times. So I don't want to say those were definitely the times I was better in those times than when things were going good. I don't want to say that. But I just feel like, I know without a doubt that I learned a lot. I learned so much, Doug. There's some situations I was in that when I look back, I just can't believe that I did what I did. And I'm proud of it. I'm not saying that I'm great. We all have that ability to do it. It just, like my addiction. Wow. I mean, what a crazy experience it was. I mean, I could say it was the most horrible thing that has ever happened to me in my life. I could say that. And in some respects, I think that's an accurate statement. But I think I learned more and I grew more in those situations than I did when, in my whole life, really. I went to school, but what I learned in that few years with the addiction, I think I learned more about myself and God. Because, I think I really like this program. To really kind of focus in on, these steps and not just, because, I remember when I first read them, and I mentioned it before, the first one, we have to admit we're powerless, and I closed the book. And then I was like, but, each of these, when we look, kind of delve into it, they're pretty powerful. And-
They're very powerful.
No doubt, and I, I never thought, I always kind of thought 11 and 12 were kind of like, the others were kind of great and these were too tapering off. No, these are actually these are pretty powerful. I like you had said about, enjoying 11. I think it's great, So for example, so last week, part of me wants to say, oh, I had a rough week, it really was, it was terrible, it was unpleasant because I had to relive something that goes back 15 years. I mean, pre-addiction, and it had to deal with events and actions taken, amongst my family, and so, but I needed to, so I have a warrant for my arrest, right? And so I know that when the judge, prosecutor, them, when they hear what I have to say, they'll be like, oh, no biggie. Because they only have one side. And I can see where they're one side without having mine, where they can think what they think. But still, it's not pleasant to have. And then, so me going through and kind of putting together my reasoning as to my actions, it made me revisit some kind of old stuff. And so it says, like, am I noticing when I'm resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Well, I think the way I felt like answering that is when I was revisiting the stuff this week, it really got to me. But by the end of the week, I calmed down. So Robert's my sponsor, right?
All right.
Yeah. And so, you all know I'm quiet. I don't talk much.
I've been meaning to try to pull you out of
Yeah. And so Robert, he never hears enough. Always wants to hear more. And so, so at least that's what I think. So, so I share with him so he can, he sees me with like, blah, 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 and then the next day, like, it just, you can see me kind of like processing. Yeah. And so, all right, so I'm pretty upset about different things, and that's not just that, but it's a few others, because I'm at a point in my journey, I'm still in the wee stages of my personal journey, and so I'm still having to make amends as I go along. But of course, it's so nice to clean things up. Yes, it is. It's very nice,
It is, and I was thinking about these items that you read here, 4 different items. Basically, that's kind of a, in step 10, we were talking about taking an inventory.
Yes, ma'am.
And we kind of made that kind of more of things, maybe behaviors, but this is more emotional.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very, very much so. So like, resentful or something. Well, with what happened with the warrant, okay, so I had a rental car and I had it too long. But I had a planned, so I was like running away and going to my safe zone here in Missouri to my old farm, and got there just in time because I had paid for like 3 days. And so my stepbrother, I've only met like a couple times in my life, we had sold it to him. He was one, and so I said, hey, can I stay here? Things are kind of crazy, and so he spoke to my siblings, and so I have things to work through with my siblings, And so when I go back the next day, no, you can't stay here. All right. Well, it's my farm, I grew up there. I was just visioning, laying out in the field. I mean, I knew the spot, I knew every spot in that field. Growing up as a kid, I just loved it. So I just couldn't wait to see the stars and stuff. So I couldn't do it, So then I wound up having the car longer than I should have. And so that's what I'm dealing with on the warrant, But it's like my siblings, I mean, they said things that prompted him to say, no, you can't stay here. So that made me angry, made me sad, it made me like, why? Resentful. But, so I had to kind of learn, I hadn't had these emotions in a while over this. And so I kind of learned that, working these steps and going on this journey, little by little, it's actually healed me a lot. It sure
Right.
has.
That's great.
I mean, I knew it did, I know it does. But this was kind of a way for me to have to kind of step out, into the crazy again while I'm fixing it, so to speak. And boy, it was unpleasant. However, it's only unpleasant if I let it be unpleasant. And so by the end of the week, I felt the peace again. Because I know everything's gonna be just fine. So I'm not worried about what's gonna happen. I was just I was hurt about how it all evolved. But, it was 15 years ago and, and everybody does their best, so I can't blame any particular person. It's just everybody does their best. So then, am I changing daily? I would say absolutely, only because now I just, I always loved life. Even if it's crazy, life is still a blessing. And, but, it's just, I'm just really having a blast. More so now. Certainly more so now than during, doing drugs. But, a blast. Coming here, learning,
Having a great sponsor.
having a great sponsor, and an amazing Doug.
Thank you.
Yes. And so, have I been changing daily? Absolutely. And I've really kind of got the sense of how far I've come. Because I had to kind of step back into the ugly a little. But hey, that's what I have to do. It needs to be fixed. And it will be fixed.
Great.
And everything will be fine.
Yes.
And I visualize God's right with me too.
Yeah.
What's up? How you doing? And how can you be lonely when you have God next to you all the time?
Wow, that's a good
Yeah,
statement.
Yeah.
And because I know the story.
Yeah. So I told him, I think that loneliness, is a common issue with addiction. Isolation, loneliness, I'm so lonely. Yeah, because you're in your house getting high every day, buddy, just come on out and enjoy outside,
Yeah.
just do little things like go for a walk, play some golf.
Yes.
Who cares how good or bad you are? It's just enjoyable. Mhm. This morning, we met a group and had breakfast. What a blast. Just the peace, the enjoyment, camaraderie, the love, you know, it was great. So yes, I'm changing, and yes, you know, the resemble, that doesn't have a place in me. Let's see, how do I say it? I'm not gonna let it be in there. Of course, you know, that's kind of easier said than done sometimes, but, you know, resentment, be gone, you know, I mean, it's. So, and I did 5 ways I'm changing. So I think maybe 1, have I touched on 1? Should I move to 2, or are there outstanding questions?
I don't have any other questions. I think you identified a real big one there, and that was the loneliness.
Yes.
You have worked through, and
Yeah.
you used our topic of knowing God and Him being with you right along in there. So
And
unless you have another one.
And that conscious awareness and so I'd say that's kind of like me finding him. I mean, I always believed in God, but it's one thing to, now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord, how's it go? Okay, okay, I'm done, amen, versus, I kind of,
The relationship that we're
yes,
talking about.
yeah, most definitely.
And that conscious contact.
And yeah, how can you be lonely? How can you be lonely? How can you be scared? How can you be worried? Because, because he got great things for me. He's not setting me up to be hurt. I might have challenges in front of me, but he knows I can take care of it. Yeah. So that's very nice. All right, so the next one on step 2.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Am I aware of others' feelings, needs, and rights? And what have I noticed today? Well, what came to mind here is so I've talked about how I've changed my number and kind of made a separation between myself and others that I was associating with, not because they're bad, they're not bad. We're in addictions, and so I need a separation because we're all kind of in different stages, and when I'm vulnerable, I don't need somebody to say, hey, what's up? You want to get high? No. That's not what I need to hear. I need to say, hey, what's up? You want to go golfing? Yeah, that's what I need to hear. And so I changed my numbers and stuff, but I still live where I'm living. All right. So I've had some people come over, and so I've expressed to them, and this is kind of repeating I've said before is I need a little time. I'm sober now, working through it, It's not because I don't like you. I'll see you soon. I'll be in a better position to help, But I thought of this one individual who says the most recent that came over to my place, and it's been, a little time, a month or more, a little more. And he was hungry. He's hungry. I know he's hungry, And so I'm not going to deny him coming in to eat. Now I will. But, I let him come in, kind of give him some food. He stole some of my Listerine because he's got a job. He's got and poor fella didn't have teeth because, the man. And so he needs to have, fresh breath. Hey, I'll feel you. If you just ask me, but still. So, kind of put me off. But so going to the aware of others, feelings and needs, he's in a different stage with the addiction than I'm at. And I cannot get mad at him. I mean, I was disappointed, like, come on, I gave you this, I didn't say it to you, but I was thinking that, But, one of our steps we talked about God's grace. And so what I did is, say a week or two after, I was ignoring. I got some food, had some food, and some kitty food, he has cat, this, and went over to his place and handed it to him, said, I've got this, and I thought I'd share it with you. And then I left. So, that was my way of trying to understand, be understanding. God, let's see if I put this right. God's given me grace, and so I want to give that to others. And so that was kind of my way. And, there's no cigarettes or dope in there. It was food, And so, and I'll probably do it again, because I think that, everybody needs to eat. I don't want anyone to be hungry. But that'd be a good way, I think, to kind of reach out, I think, is he knows he stole. I don't need to say, "Did you steal my stuff for?" I'll give you, I didn't need to say that. He knows it. But, give him food because he's in a spot. And hopefully, over time, he'll come out of it. But so that was kind of, that's kind of what come to mind here. I think it's important for me to protect me because you can't come back inside because I don't have enough control over myself right now, basically. So it's not you, it's you can't come in. I want you to even come over, but I still want to to be understanding and sharing. So that's kind of what come about, am I aware of others' feelings, needs, and rights? And so that's what comes to mind here is instead of me being upset about, like I gave you food and then you stole more, instead of me worrying about me, my needs, don't diss me, I think it's better to be understanding. And so that was me kind of practicing that. And I felt great, it made me feel good. Because here, and then I'm gone, I need to be gone, I can't stay, And so that kind of come to mind. And so I hope I can take on that hope. So when I have more strength to protect myself, then I can get closer to situations where I can help others, But right now I need to focus on myself. All right, so.
And I think that's very wise.
Yes, I think that's, otherwise, I'm gonna fall back and then we're both, and so sometimes, somebody's got to start it and kind of get a little stronger leg up and then pull up and then maybe I get weak and then he pulls me up, I mean, that's people sticking together, I think.
So what did you learn from this lesson?
Well, what I learned is that I don't think I've fully appreciated the progress that I've made. I mean, I know I've made progress, but I say I don't think I fully appreciated it until I kind of stepped in the ick again, and then it made me feel kind of a certain way, but then, I just started remembering what I've learned to get my perspective and mind back in. So I think what I've learned is this works. Yeah, this works. That's what I've learned. It works, and for me, like finding God, is seeing Him, and like Robert was, I can't say it better than he did. It's visualizing, it's experiencing, it's being with him in that moment,
Good.
versus, just out of habit. So that's what I think I've learned today is this stuff works. And I hope that I can find ways to share my experiences and to share my thoughts of how it worked for me. And I want to keep going forward, and hopefully, each person that is pulling out of an addiction can can give hope to others, who are stuck in it, to show that it can work. And so that's what I'm committed to doing.
Good. So, what's your takeaway?
What's my takeaway?
Yes.
What's my takeaway?
What's your takeaway?
What's my
Hey,
takeaway?
by the way, I've been sitting here thinking,
Uh-huh.
did your legal skills help you in your presentation here today?
I think that, everything kind of helps, but what helps is finding God and getting closer to God, and I think that is what,
So you think it'll make you a better lawyer?
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always, I've always tried to be humble, I've always, tried to be caring and understanding, but, I just can't help but just see, I've become a better person, and so absolutely, yes, it will help, especially advocating for individuals in the addiction. I can certainly do it better now than I could had pre-dope,
So what's your takeaway?
What's my takeaway? He asks us this question every time,
Yeah.
and it's always the most difficult one, I think. So my takeaway is, I know, just keep on moving. Yeah, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
How about making healthy choices?
And working this helps me make healthy choices.
Good.
Because, there was something here, that I had kind of read, and, it was talking about, like our compulsive or our impatient, these things lead us towards, pull us more towards addiction, whereas, patience and understanding and knowing it's in God's hands, it brings us, spiritually brings us closer to God in peace. And so my takeaway is, yeah, this stuff works, and by golly,
And see, you basically describe either emotionally dysregulated or emotionally regulated, right? So, and when we're emotionally regulated, then we have that peace. We are able to feel that connection more, right?
yes, sir.
And when we're emotionally dysregulated, then we're basically separated.
Yes.
And what happens when we're separated?
We just, crumble. So when I'm emotionally regulated, then I use the example before, I drop a glass of milk, I'm not gonna I'm gonna, like, son of a gun, butter hands, and clean it up. So I think every decision or everything I do in life is when I am kind of emotionally imbalanced and calm and peaceful, I just make better decisions. And the energy that I share is positive versus, negative when we're all out of whack. So that, I would say, is my take.
Well, thank you very much. Give Garth a big hand. All right. Thank you, Garth.
Thank you, Doug.
You did great.
Did I do great?
You're doing good.
Thank you, sir.
Every time I see improvement. I hope you don't mind me saying that.
No, you can say that as many times you like. You can repeat it now if you want to. I'm good with that.
You're not. So, anyway, I appreciate it. Anybody have any comments about?
I'm grateful for this meeting, and be able to come here and learn.
Good. So, what is your takeaway from the meeting today? The lesson?
Well, I was reading the last part of this, just plain only knowledge of his will for us and power to carry that out. Well, I'm glad that he gives us that, because God gives us that, because my way and my knowledge to carry things out, I'd like to learn a different way. I'd like to learn more ways than I know now, you know? Like to
Good.
grow more.
Good. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share?
Yeah, how are we supposed to go about like seeking affirmation from big decisions?
Seeking
Affirmations
affirmations from,
from God's will.
seeking God's will,
Yeah.
okay? And how do we go about it?
Yeah, is there like a doxological way to do that, or?
Well, it's coming to that place that, you know, oftentimes it's how we approach God, and I think one of the best ways to do that is by asking God what I need to know. You know, because there's a lot of things that there's a lot of stuff, okay, but the you know, like step 11 says here, seeking God's will for what He has for me, and God, what do I need to know? Oftentimes people pray, why this and why that, you know, those type questions, and that's normal that people do that, but the fact of it is that why question is really an enormously big question, because you're asking God why about something in particular that may be expansive, and you know you're not able because it may not even you're not able to understand even what He has to say, because there's so many it's manifold, it's multi-sided, and so we ask Him what I need to know, and then we listen. That's what meditation is about, and I've said for years that the biggest part of prayer is listening, and then we have to then line it up with the Word and line it up with counsel, the truth, and then we test it and to see what if I'm hearing correctly. And sometimes our ability to hear is a little twisted until we practice and get things kind of lined up to where we're able to hear. Does that make sense? And so we and like that goes back to that question I asked Robert a while ago about how do you get from standing in the lion's den, how do we get there from where we are here? And he says by little things that we practice, a little here, a little there, because we get direction all the time, but a lot of times we ignore it. Did you hear how quiet it is? Yeah. So we ignore it, and so we can't be selective about what we want to hear from Him. We need to hear what He says, and then follow through with those things. And as we do that, we grow in more confidence and the ability to hear. Okay, this illustration just popped in my mind. I remember when I used to play football. It was, of course, this has been a long time ago. It was in, and this was in Galena's. It was where I was raised, where I went to school. And you had cars that drove right in around the football field. You know, they were around and they'd sit on the ends and they'd honk their horns, and you had the band playing and you had the wind going and people talking, you know, just all kinds of noise, okay? And you're out on the field, and when the coach yelled at me, I had listened to him yell at me for years in practice, and I could hear him through all the other noise.
Yeah.
Okay? And I could hear my mom cough on the sidelines. Okay? Because I've listened to that. I could hear my dad because I knew his voice. Why? Because I I exposed myself to it, and in another way, I practiced hearing it, okay? Whether I realized it or not. And so what we have to do is practice hearing it, and then how we prove it to ourselves that we're on the right track is we walk it out. We test it. We do it. I'll give you another illustration. I was having a problem in a business situation, and I knew my employee was lying to me, but I had to have evidence, and I didn't know even how I could get the evidence, and so I was early in the morning. I was praying about this, and I felt like God told me I just needed to show up. Well, what am I going to do when I get there? I had a bunch of other questions after He said just show up, right? And I actually told God that wouldn't work. You know how it is.
Because you're
You
smarter
guys,
than
yeah, I'm smarter than God. And so at lunchtime, I remember sitting in front of McDonald's, and I walked in and got something to eat because I was trying to still figure this problem out because I knew I had to do something, all right? But I knew I needed to do something, but I didn't want to do anything, but I knew I had to do something because I had to do something. And so I literally got in on the driver's side so that I would be able to have some time to just talk to God about this and try to get Him to change His mind, basically, because it wouldn't work. And it was like, I already told you what to do. And I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll just go do it and get it over with, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do. That was my statement. And so I said, all right. So I was going to do that. And before I was able to do that, the whole situation changed. It was taken care of. Does that make sense? Because
It wasn't lying to you, or he came clean about it?
it was dealt with.
Oh, okay.
The problem, he was lying to me, but they confessed to it and to another employee, and the matter was resolved. But I felt like I had to commit to what he told me to do, and when I committed to do it, it was taken care of. Even though I didn't have to do it, but I was ready and willing to do it to even prove that it wouldn't work, but it did work. Does that make any type of sense? And that was like that other thing I was talking with Robert a while ago, that a job that I did that I knew I wasn't supposed to do it. I said no. So the lady literally was crying and wanted me to just give her a price. So I doubled it, which I figured it would just blow it out of the water, and it didn't. And I didn't feel like I could back out because I gave my word. And I hired a guy to help me, and he made more money out of the deal than I did. And on the second time around, when I had to go back and take care of it, I lost money, big money, in the situation. At least it was big money to me at the time. So, and that was, I needed to learn to listen, and then something we never like to do is obey. Right? Who's this guy sneaking in? I will. I wasn't for sure if that was you, but
I know, I was,
I didn't recognize you.
so anyway, hopefully that helps.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else? Patty, you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to say, that everything I heard tonight was really good. I appreciate it. And I know I'm in the right place because, everything that was talked about is exactly what I've been going through. I made up my mind that I wanted to go another direction in my life. I wanted to make some changes that I needed to. And I wanted to get back in a relationship with God, you know. And so everything just tied together with it. And so I just had to be willing to do, the only thing that I knew to do was, because I used to come here years ago, come here. So I made that decision, just come here. I don't know what's gonna happen, you know, in the future or what, how it's gonna turn out, but I made the decision to come tonight, and I'm glad I did.
And we're glad you guys are.
I'm glad you're here.
Yes.
Anybody else?
I just want to say briefly, like, for me, whenever I make the, unhealthy decisions, I always have to, it's like a brick wall my head just bounces off of. Whenever I make, healthy decisions, it just seems like things fall in my lap, And so that's that's the affirmation that I get is just little things keep falling in my lap when I'm making the right decisions.
Well, Scripture says He makes the path straight, Why do we have to continue to try to always go it on our own, right? Anybody else? Lord?
You've been standing behind it exhausted, is that what you've been doing?
Just sitting here trying to learn something.
Do what?
Just sitting here trying to learn something.
Okay. All right.
Good to see you.
We saved the best to last.
I wanna hear what Will has to say. I ain't got nothing.
He's
Nothing
working
that
hard
I'm willing
today.
to share right now.
Okay.
I'm just-
Thanks everybody for being here, and again, remember we're going to be off on the 29th, and we'll be back next week. And let's see, Tommy, you're doing it next week.
Tommy and me, I have
Tommy,
another genius to follow.
all right. So may the Lord bless you and keep you, and may His face shine upon you and give you His peace, and make healthy choices. Right?